Welcome to This Explainer. Today we're unpacking the psychology behind why we hold back our true selves and, more importantly, how to finally break free from that exhausting fear of judgment. We'll be looking at some seriously fascinating insights into why we care so much about what others think and how we can actually make it stop.
So let's jump right in. I want you to think about those moments where your heart just starts racing. You're carefully checking every single word in your mind, but ultimately, you just smile, nod, and stay completely quiet. You have the words right there on the tip of your tongue, but you're absolutely paralyzed by that one terrifying question. What are they going to think of me?
Look, we have all been there. You're screaming on the inside to just speak up, only to replay the whole moment later on the bus or lying in bed. And then you deliver the most powerful, articulate speech of your entire life directly to the shampoo bottle in the shower. It's incredibly frustrating, right? Well, if you're tired of feeling small in your own life because of this invisible audience, you are definitely in the right place.
Okay, let's move to section 1, where the fear begins.
You know, this fear of what people think doesn't just appear out of thin air overnight. It usually starts much earlier, with tiny comments, maybe some tricky family dynamics, or just schoolyard jokes. Think about a time you said something in class and people laughed. For the person making the joke, it literally lasts one single second. But for you, it feels like a scar. These moments tend to linger, meaning they stick around way longer than you'd expect, quietly setting up all these invisible rules for how you behave. And what's really fascinating here is that this fear doesn't just stay put in one isolated memory. It slowly seeps into your work, your friendships, really every other area of your life. It's kind of like water slowly moving through tiny cracks in a wall until the whole thing is completely soaked. That fear that started in a middle school classroom can actually end up dictating how you act in a corporate boardroom decades later. And because of this seeping fear, your brain learns a very specific survival rule. Attention equals danger. So the moment a teacher or a boss asks a question, your hand desperately wants to shoot up, but you instinctively shrink back. You make yourself small just to stay safe. You are quite literally trained by your past to feel this way.
That brings us to section 2, the exhaustion of performing.
As we grow up, dealing with this imaginary audience becomes so draining. Because it's not just a classroom anymore, right? It's the whole world. You walk into a room, or honestly, even just open up social media, and suddenly your chest gets tight, your thoughts start racing, and your brain totally freaks out over something as simple as ordering a coffee or sending a casual email. Your body feels anxious, it goes on high alert, sensing danger where there literally is none, and it starts this huge inner drama that makes you hold back from doing what you actually want to do. You hold back because it feels like there's this massive, glowing spotlight highlighting every single mistake you make. But you have to remember this one crucial truth. You are not the main movie in their head. Most people, they're just busy worrying about their own lives. They're stressing over their own emails, their own outfits, their own awkward moments. You're really just a tiny extra walking through the background of their movie.
But okay, what about when someone actually does say something mean? When someone criticizes you? Remember that their harsh words are rarely a mirror reflecting your true worth. More often than not, they're actually a projection of their own insecurities. Like if someone laughs at you for trying a new hobby, it's usually because they are terrified to try something new themselves. Unfortunately, we can't just hit delete on painful comments in our memory. But you can physically and mentally brush them right off your shoulder like dust. Brushing it off means you hear the comment, but you make a conscious, active decision in that moment. This is not my truth. You just absolutely refuse to keep it in your heart.
Because here's the real danger. If you don't brush those comments off, you end up spending your life walking on eggshells. You become overly careful with every single step, every word, and every outfit just so you don't upset anybody. You end up playing this very safe character to keep everyone else perfectly happy, but you are totally stepping on your own heart in the process. You're protecting everyone in the room except yourself. So, what's the antidote? Being authentic. To be authentic means dropping the mask and acting like your real, true self. It means finding the courage to just say the honest sentence, even if it's as simple as, actually, I'm pretty tired today. Or, actually, I don't agree with that idea. Just one sentence where you are a little more you. And that leads right into section 3, the perfection trap. So, what keeps us stuck in this exhausting performance? It's the trap of perfection. We tell ourselves this very clever little lie. I'll finally speak up when my English is perfect, or I'll launch that project when my life is perfectly organized. I mean, it sounds smart, right? It feels safe. But it is exactly like saying,
I will learn to swim when I already know how to swim. It makes you wait around for a magical day that is never, ever going to come. Real progress only happens when you step into the water and allow yourself to look a little messy. Moving on to Section 4, building your confidence muscle.
We tend to have this massive misconception about confident people. We think they're just born with magic confidence, like a baby rolling right out of the hospital with a tiny microphone and a pair of sunglasses. But confidence is actually a muscle you have to build. Just like lifting weights at the gym, confidence grows when you collect small, brave repetitions or reps throughout your day. Simple things, like saying hi to a neighbor, sharing just one idea in a meeting, asking a question, or leaving a comment online. These are your confidence reps.
Now, when you do these reps, let's be real, it's gonna feel uncomfortable. You'll be stepping way outside your comfort zone, and your first instinct is gonna be to run for the hills. Don't. You have to lean into the discomfort. Move closer to it. Feel that awkwardness. Do the action anyway, and then mentally check it off your list as a massive victory.
Finally, Section 5, fear into curiosity.
The absolute best trick for leaning into that discomfort is changing how you actually talk to yourself. Fear constantly asks, what if I mess up? What if they laugh? What if I look stupid? And that completely freezes you. But curiosity asks, what might I learn here? What will I discover? Curiosity opens you up. It completely takes the pressure off having to be flawless and focuses your brain on the experience itself.
The best way to practice this is by becoming a scientist in your own life. Treat your daily interactions as the conversation experiment. Try speaking one authentic sentence, watch what happens, and simply gather data. You're not expecting perfection, you only expect information. Even if the interaction goes a little weird, hey, you still got some good data. And after your experiment, do a quick review. Just ask yourself 2 simple questions. What surprised me and what went well? Maybe they were way friendlier than you expected. Maybe you didn't hold back your question this time. By doing this, you are actively training your brain to look for growth and progress, instead of obsessing over tiny little mistakes. So, as we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with this final thought. The real win in life isn't speaking perfectly or living flawlessly. The real win is caring just a little less about that invisible crowd in your head and a little more about your real self. Because that invisible crowd, they aren't real, but your voice is. So, what is the one brave, authentic step you are going to lean into today? Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and I'll catch you next time.